Hello and good morning to all of you. I welcome you again to this new lecture on second order circuits. And today we will try to complete this topic which we are studying for the last few weeks now. That is and for the past 1 week, we have solved tutorials and numerical problems based on second order circuits. So let us start today's lecture. Probably I will assume the this lecture on numerical problems, numerical problems on series RLC circuits. So we'll solve some numerical problems on series RLC circuits. That is, we are having a combination of R, L, and C in series, and these are also like parallel circuits. These are also second order circuits. Okay, so these are also second order circuits. Now, probably I will assume it is lecture 10 or 11. Okay, so let us start. Now, till now, we have gone through the basics of these second order circuits and we have solved some numerical on parallel RLC circuit. And let me summarize this for parallel and series. So the equation format remains same whether it is a parallel RLC circuit or a series RLC circuit. Only the values of alpha change, that is omega naught, is always fixed. So either if you are having a R, L, and C circuit source free, okay, or you are having a parallel R, L, or C circuit, have both combinations. So these are source free. That means only R, L, C, the initial inductor current and the initial capacitor voltage is present. Okay. So that means the equation we have already seen. Let me write it once again for different cases. So we can write down these equations as relevant equations for series and parallel RLC circuits. So the first case is the overdamped case. Okay, overdamped case. For overdamped, we can write down the for parallel circuit. For we can draw a table for like this. So it will be for parallel RLC and for series RLC. Okay, so for series RLC, for the underdamped case, the condition is that alpha is equal to 1 over 2 RC, that we have already gone through. In this case, for series RLC, the alpha value is R by 2L. Okay, omega naught is same. Here also omega naught is 1 over under root LC. Here also omega naught is 1 over under root LC. Okay, the roots are same. The condition for overdamped is also same for both the conditions. Here it also alpha should be greater than omega naught, and here also alpha should be greater than omega naught. And the response we have seen, it is in the form of response. For example, if we are writing for parallel RLC, then we can write down that VCT is equal to whatever response you will find. VCT or the current through the resistance will have a form like this: A1 e to the power S1t plus A2 e to the power S2t. Okay, so this can be voltage or any other quantity which is varying. For example, it can be VCT or it can be VRT or IRT. Only these coefficients will change, and we know that S1 and S2 are complex frequencies. So S1 and S2 is given by the formula minus alpha plus minus under root alpha square minus omega naught square, and for underdamped case alpha is greater than omega. Okay, the similar expression can be written response in the series, whether it is a current, obviously, because if it or voltage, the response is in this form: a1 e to the power s1t plus a2 e to the power s2. Okay, so this is for the overdamped case where alpha is greater than omega naught. Now, for critically damped case, next case is critically damped case. We can write it down like alpha is equal to omega naught for both series and parallel circuits. Okay, alpha values I have already told you. Alpha is for series, it is r by 2l, and for parallel it is 1 by 2rc. So depending upon whether it is a series circuit, it will be r by 2l, or if it is a parallel circuit, it will be 1 over 2rc, and omega naught will be equal to 1 over under root lc. The response for both series and parallel RLC circuit can be written in the form that current or voltage or any other quantity can be written in the form e to the power minus alpha t. This is, I am telling you, the final generalized expression which you can directly use. E to the power minus alpha t a1t plus a2. Okay. So these expressions are only simplified. For example, if alpha is equal to omega naught, then you know that if alpha is equal to omega naught, then s1 and s2 will equal to minus alpha. Okay, because the under root part will go to 0. So in that case it will be written like this. The third important case which I have already given you in the last tutorial is to write a response for uh, underdamped case. Okay, so it is little bit different for underdamped case. I hope you have done the derivation. Very simple, just some algebraic manipulations and trigonometry. For underdamped case, for both the cases, alpha is less than omega naught, and alpha, as I already told you, is r by 2l for series, and for parallel it is 1 by 2rc. Okay, for parallel it is 1 by 2rc for parallel circuit. So this is same in all the circuits. Okay, so just we are writing the expression for underdamped, whether it is a series circuit or a parallel circuit. We can write down response in an underdamped case can be written in the generalized form e to the power minus alpha t, and we can b1, just we have taken some other constant so that it is identified that if we are writing b1, then we are talking about the underdamped case. Okay, you can also take a1, it doesn't have makes any difference. So I am taking b1 cos of omega dt plus b2 sine of, this is final generalized expression, sine of omega dt. Okay, this is final generalized expression for underdamped case where omega d is equal to omega naught square, which is equal to 1 over under root LC minus alpha square. Okay, so in some case it is known as damped frequency. Omega d is named as damped frequency. So instead of the response we are writing for the underdamped case, we are not writing omega naught directly. Rather, we are writing the response in the terms of this new frequency, that is the damped resonant frequency of the circuit. And it's simple, it is defined in terms of omega naught and alpha. Omega d, if omega naught is known, that is already known because it is 1 over under root LC, And if alpha is known, then you can easily calculate omega d and can then write for the expression for this. But the condition whether it is a over-damped or under-damped or critically damped circuit will be decided by only this. Don't calculate omega d for that. Omega d will be calculated later when you write this expression. If omega naught and alpha is checked, because we are turning it into a real quantity. Because omega naught is greater than alpha, so this becomes a real quantity. Okay, so that we can easily put it with cos and sine. So as you can see, this expression of underdamped tells you that it is a the underdamped response is a combination of two different cosine and sine functions which are algebraically added multiplied by some damped frequency if it is a unforced response. Okay, so that means the combination will be a some cosine function and some sine function, which is added algebraically and then multiplied by some exponential, which is decreasing in its nature, and that rate of decrease will depend on this alpha, which is equal to r by 2l. And for the case of parallel RLC circuit, it is 1 over 2 RC. So, if C and L are assumed to be constant, then you can see that for series case, alpha is directly proportional to R, and for parallel case, it is inversely proportional to R. That means if you have a high value of resistance, then alpha will go small. Okay, very small number can come up here. Okay, and similarly, if the resistance is very high, in the case of series circuit, then alpha can be a very high value. Okay, its magnitude may not decrease that fast if it is having a very high value. Okay, so for computation of numerical problems, as we have seen earlier also, we need all these parameters. Now, what happens? What happens? The previous slide was for unforced response. What happens in forced response? What happens in forced response? Suppose you have a source which is connected to a parallel series or parallel RLC circuit. Suppose you have a condition like this, or you have a condition like this. Uh, you have a parallel R, L, and C circuit. This is R, this is L, and this is C, and you have a source also. That means there is a forced response V in, or you can also take current source here I in, and similarly for here also you can assume a different source. So nothing happens. If you see, we have written the transient response. The transient response, these are all transient responses, whether this is this response or this response. So in the nothing happens, but in the steady state, only the final voltage value will be added. For example, if you are writing a complete solution, if we are writing a complete solution, then we need to have a forced response plus natural response or transient response. Okay, so transient response we have already written for both the circuit. It will remain in the form of either a1 e to the power s1t plus a2 e to the power s2t, or the another forms we have written e to the power minus alpha t b1 cos of omega dt plus b2 sine of omega dt. So all this will remain same, or if it is for critically damped, then we can have written e to the power minus alpha t a1t plus a2. So if it is critically damped, then it is e to the power minus alpha t a1t plus a2. Okay. So this will remain same. Forced response, we can write the final uh, capacitor voltage, that is the capacitor is charged, or the final inductor current, or whatever the final value of any element is asked in the question. So if it is final capacitor, suppose the capacitor is finally this capacitor. If it is a series circuit, then finally the capacitor voltage will be charged to what? V in. So force response, the final capacitor value Vc will be equal to, so V. So you have to add algebraically the final response or the final voltage which the capacitor is coming. Okay, if it is an inductor current, then what will be the inductor current that will be flowing in the circuit finally when all the transients will die out? That final current of inductor in this circuit of series circuit will be equal to V in by the final current will be what? Because the capacitor will be charged, so this will be open circuited. The final current which will be flowing into the circuit will be zero. Okay. So in this way, you can write down the final response just by seeing the noting the property that capacitor will get open circuit in finally, and inductor will get short circuit finally. So just you have to put these values, and you will calculate the force response, and then we can write the total solution or the complete response. That's it. But the problem is still, the major problem is not to determine the force response, but to determine the transient response, because there you have to calculate these values of uh, constants which are there. So once you have chosen once you have chosen these values, it will be very easy to write it down. Now, next we are solving some problems so that it becomes more clear to you. So the first question example which I am taking is of a series RLC circuit. We have a series RLC circuit like this. This is R, this is C, and this is all source free. Uh, because only in force circuit only the final value which is added. So this is the capacitor voltage minus Vc. This is the inductor polarity VL, and this is R. Okay. So it is written that L is equal to 1 Henry. Let us take these values. L is equal to 1 Henry. R is equal to 2000 ohm, and capacitor has a value of 1 over 401 microfarad, and initial inductor current I0 is 2 milliampere, and initial capacitor voltage VC0 is equal to 2 volt. Okay, so what we have to determine the current which is flowing here in the circuit I, determine IT, and sketch the graph of IT with respect to T. Okay. So first of all, step one, we have to calculate alpha and omega naught and check the response. So alpha, because it is a series RLC circuit, will be equal to R by 2L. Omega naught, it will be equal to 1 over under root LC. So alpha for this circuit has come out to be 1000 per second, and omega naught has come out to be equal to 20 into 10 to the power 3 radian per second. So it is easily decided that alpha is less than omega naught, hence the circuit is underdamped. Okay, so in step one we have decided that the circuit is underdamped. Okay, that means we have to write the standard solution for underdamped circuit, which is this: IT is equal to e to the power minus alpha b1 cos of omega dt plus b2 sine of omega dt. Okay, so this much we have to write. Now, we have already calculated the value of alpha, and we have already calculated the value of omega naught. Omega naught has come out to be equal to, let me recalculate it from my calculator. It is okay. This is 20. This is not 20, 20, but it is slightly higher. It is 20 025 radian per. Okay, slightly higher than that, but that doesn't change the response. Okay, so alpha is now known, so we can calculate omega d. omega d will be equal to under root of omega naught square minus alpha square. So it will come out to be equal to 20,000 radian per second. Okay. Now we can put these things here. Okay, we can write down the solution as it is equal to e to the power minus 1000 t v1 cos of 20,000 uh, or plus v2 sine of 20,000 t. Okay, so this much we can write. Now step 2, determine the values of v1 and v2. So initial condition is we have to put initial conditions. What does it say? For example, I0 will be equal to T1, because as you can see, this is sine 0 will be 0. This will be 1. So we will get only this term. Okay, P1. So initial condition, we know that I naught will be equal to the B1 value. Okay, I0 by putting time 0, and I0 is already given in the circuit, that is equal to 2 milliampere. So B1 has a value of this 0.002 ampere. Okay, it is fine. We have calculated one of the values of B1. Okay, now when B1 is known, how to calculate B2? Okay, for B2, we have to uh, put this equation. We have to write the equation for we also know that calculation of B2, we need a second initial condition. Calculation of B2, we need a second initial condition. So second initial condition we can find out by the expression which is known to us, that is VL is equal to L di by dt. So if we use this expression and at then apply the time t is equal to 0, then we can get the value of dt. Now once you know that VL is equal to L di by dt, and what is VL in the circuit? If you see the circuit again, VL is equal to VC0 minus R times, we are here to calculate VL0. VL0 is equal to R times I0, that because it is a series circuit, divided by 1. That is the value of resistance having. So if you see, we can easily determine the value of di by dt. Di by dt will be equal to VL by L. Okay, from this expression, VL is equal to VL we have written, that is equal to LDI by dt, and then VL can be finally written in terms of, sorry, let me correct it. VL is equal to the, if you see the series circuit, we have VC0 minus R times I0, that will be equal to what was VC0 given in the problem was 2 minus what is the value of resistance, 2000 multiplied by 0.002, that is equal to minus 2 times, it will come out to be equal to minus 2. Okay, so, so this value, let me check it once again from my calculator. Yes, it is correct. Out to be minus 2. So that means VL is now known. If VL is known at t is equal to 0, then from this expression This is by writing KVL in this circuit. That was the circuit that is drawn earlier. So we have written KVL for this circuit. This is R and this is C and this is L. So this is R, C, L. So we have written KVL for this circuit only. So this is through KVL. Now when the KVL is written, we again apply equation this. VL is equal to L di by dt. So di by dt will be equal to VL by L. And what is L? L is 1 Henry. So it becomes di by dt also becomes minus 2 ampere per second. Okay, so that means this much is known. Can differentiate this equation, which we already know. Let me write this equation again. It we have written as e to the power minus 1000 t bracket. T1 we have already determined 0.002 cos of 20,000 t plus P2 sine of 20,000 t. So this expression we know. All things are known. Only we need to calculate P2. What will be the P2? Let us differentiate equation of IT. Let us assume that this is some equation A. Okay. So differentiate A. Differentiate equation number A. Now when you differentiate it, okay, and put di by dt, at t is equal to 0. That means once you differentiate and then you have to put t is equal to 0, you will get the value of b2 as 0. So if you differentiate di by dt, you will get a long expression e to the power minus 1000 t minus 40 sine of 20,000 t plus 20,000 b2 cos of 20,000 t. Okay, so this we are differentiating it minus of twice of cos of 20,000 t minus 1000 times t2 sine of 20,000. Okay, so this kind of expression you will get. This is minus 40. Okay, once you differentiate di by dt and put t is equal to 0, okay, you will get the value of, and di by dt you have already known that di by dt is, we have already calculated the value of di by dt. Di by dt is minus 2 ampere per second. So it will become minus 2 ampere per second. That is equal to all this value. So this will be equal to, once you calculate this, the value of B2 will come out to be equal to 0 at t is equal to 0. Because you see, if you put t is equal to 0, it will become 1, it will become 0, okay, it will become 20,000 into B2, it will also become 1. So if you solve it completely by all, so there will be only two terms which will be left finally for calculation. So once you calculate it and put t is equal to 0 everywhere, you will get the value of B2 as 0. Now once B2 is 0, that means in the circuit system, we have only one constant which is left. One constant which is left. So that constant will be equal to, that constant is only one constant is left, and that is B1. Okay. So as you can easily see that when B2 will come out to be 0, only B1 is left. The total response of the circuit IT can be written as, now B2 is 0, that means the term associated with B1 cos omega dt will be there, plus B2 sin omega dt will go to 0 multiplied by e to the power minus alpha. So the final expression we can write down is like this. B1 is known, so we can write it down as IT is equal to twice of e to the power minus 1000 t bracket cos of 20 triple 0. So this is the final expression which we have got. V1 is already known to us, that was 2.0. So bus 2 milliampere current. So this is in the current which we have written is for milliampere. Okay, so that's why we have written 2. If you want to write for ampere, then replace 2 by 0.002. Okay, so if you draw the graph of this circuit, it will become something like this. So what kind of response it is? It is an underdamped response. As you see that there is a cos function. So cos function will get 0 at some time in every cycle. So 20,000, this function t will get to 0 at the crossing points can be, for example, if this 20,000 t will become pi by 2, or it is pi by 2, or we can have different values for which we can calculate the time period at which this function will become 0. So 20,000 t can become 0 at pi by 2 or 3 pi by 2 and so on. So we can calculate these values at these points. Okay, so once you, and then we can calculate the time at which it will go to 0, or 0 or 1 or any value we can calculate. Okay, so and we can also calculate at which point it will become maximum. So maximum value of cos function will come at 0, pi, 2 pi, and so the something plotted like this. Okay, let me draw it again. So it is a pure sinusoid function which is damped. So let me correctly draw it. I will try to depict you how it will be looking like. You can also try the simulation. Okay. Let me draw it on next slide. So the response of it will be something like a damped sinusoid. So it will start from here. Okay, it will start from here and then it will go here. Again, it will come down. Okay, again it will come down. Again it will go up. It will be like this because it is a, and then each cycle the magnitude will be, in each cycle the magnitude will be decreasing, and finally after many it will settle down to its final value. So the response will be something like this. Okay, like this. Don't go for this. This is all pure sinusoidal. This is all pure sinusoidal. There is, the shape is purely sinusoid. So you get a response like this, in which every time it will be having a decreasing magnitude, and then it will finally settle down to some value. Okay, so this kind of response you get. Okay, and if a maximum the first cycle, also its maximum value will be minus, and then finally it comes down to some time in the millisecond. It will finally come down to 0 after many cycle, and it will settle down to 0. So at these values you can calculate for which time it is getting, and at which time the magnitude is getting to which value. So all these points, this point, time at which it is maximum can be calculated from the equation. But the response you see is, there is this kind of response in which it will start and then finally its magnitude will come down like this, is a underdamped response of the circuit. If it is an overdamped circuit or some other circuit, then this response will not be there. This overshoot will not be there, or you can say the uh, this type of characteristics will not be there, but it would have been a simple response in which the response may have started from here, and from then it may have gone to zero. For example, if it was an uh, underdamped or overdamped response, then the response may come like this, and then it will may go to zero. Okay, so this way. But this is we have expanded this. It may, if you have many cycles, then you can quickly have a response like this, only 1 2 cycles, and then it will go to zero. Since we have expanded it, so you may think that it may take longer time to go zero, but it may happen very fast, and then it will go to zero. Remember, the time is in the milliseconds. Okay. So this numerical, this way we can solve, very easy to solve. Just you have to calculate the initial conditions and then draw the graph. And you can, from this equation, can calculate the values of time period by knowing that at which period it will go to zero. For example, at t values of pi by 2 into 20,000, it will the signal will go to zero. At this millisecond time, it will go to zero. Similarly, you can again know that which cycle it will go to zero. So you can find that at t is equal to pi by this, 3 pi by this, it will go to zero. So all these values are values where it will go to zero. Okay. Now again, we this is one of the numerical problems. So this way you can solve more numerical problems. Another numerical problem which I would like to discuss is this. You have a source of 10 volt, and you have a switch, and then an R source and a dependent voltage source, whose voltage is dependent upon the current I, and that current I is flowing in this 2 ohm resistance. Okay, so this is a dependent source in which the voltage is dependent on the current, and the current is flowing in this branch, and this switch is opened at t is equal to 0. This is a voltage source, this is a 9 ohm resistance, this is a capacitance, and this is a inductance. So this is the circuit which is there. So this is 9 ohm, and this is 2 millifarad, and this is 5 Henry. Okay, so what happens that when this switch is turned off at t is equal to 0, the circuit becomes dependent RLC, because there is R, 2 ohm, 9 ohm, there is some inductance L, and there is some capacitance C in the circuit. So it becomes a series dependent, well, you should write it like this, dependent series RLC circuit. Okay, and there is this is not a simple circuit. It is having some voltage source earlier, but when the switch is turned off at t is equal to 0, it becomes a source free RLC circuit. Okay, because now the source at is not there. It was there at time t is equal to 0, and after that it has vanished. So you can safely say that now the circuit is behaving like a source free RLC circuit. So the challenge here is to determine R equivalent or R Thevenin. Rest of the steps will remain same. So I have already told you, you have to draw a circuit for t is equal for t greater than 0. Assume a test voltage source or current source. Put at the terminals. Put at the terminals of inductor and calculate the value of R seen by inductor. How you have to write for t greater than 0, the circuit can be redrawn like this. If it is a resistance and it is a dependent voltage source plus minus 3i, okay, the current, this is 2 ohm, the current is flowing here I, and this is 9 ohm, and you have I have taken a dependent, oh sorry, independent current source 1 ampere, that is there. Okay, so I have put this as a test source, and I have to calculate the voltage across this 1 ampere source. So let me assume that it is V test. So what will be the R equivalent or R Thevenin as seen by this 1 ampere source? It will be equal to 1 V test, that is the voltage, divided by the 1 ampere current which is flowing in this circuit. Now the current is flowing, which is flowing in this circuit, is 1 ampere, and I is equal to also 1 ampere. So the voltage directly you can write down, that is equal to 9 volt, 9 into 1 ampere minus 3 plus 2. So 9 minus 3 is 6, and 6 plus 2 is 8. So finally, the voltage which will I will get from the in the circuit directly is 8 volt divided by 1 ampere current which is flowing. So the net equivalent resistance is 8 ohm. So that is R equivalent. Okay, you can put KVL here, and as you can put KVL here, and since the it is a series circuit, so this dependent current I will become equal to 1 ampere, and this voltage source which is dependent on this current will become 3 volt. So this will become finally 3 volt for I is equal to 1. Okay, this is the value of this. So this way the R equivalent is find out. First you have to remove the inductor, put a voltage or a current source. You can also put a voltage source here. It will make no difference if you take a voltage source, independent voltage source, or an independent current source, because this is the resistance which is seen by this source. So that will be the total resistance of the circuit. That's why the magnitude we have taken as 1 ampere. You can take any magnitude 10 ampere, still the resistance will come out to be equal to 8 ohm. Now, once you have calculated all this for this circuit, then we need to calculate similar things. We need to go for the calculation of alpha. So, since it is a series circuit, so alpha is equal to R by 2L, and that is equal to 8, uh, 0.8 second inverse, and omega naught is equal to 10 radian per second. Okay, 10 radian per second. Values are already been shown here in the circuit. This is 2 ohm, this is 9 ohm, this is 2 millifarad, and this is 5 Henry. So as you can see, that for this circuit, we can calculate these values of alpha as well as omega naught. Now, once you have known these values of alpha and omega naught, we can finally calculate the value of omega d. Omega d will be equal to 9.968 radian per second. Now, once you have written down what was there to calculate, we need to calculate for this circuit. Calculate for this circuit the expression for VCT, not ICT, but the question demands what is the expression for VCT. What is the expression for VCT? What is the expression for VCT? So we need to calculate the expression for VCT. Okay. Now, for calculating the expression for VCT, we have to write down the similar equation which we have already written, that VCT will also be equal to, since now it has become an underdamped circuit, so VCT can finally be written in terms of e to the power minus alpha t V1. cos of omega dt plus V2 sine of omega dt. Now omega d is known, so we need to calculate the values of V1 and V2. So how they can be calculated? The values of V1 and V2 will be calculated by putting initial conditions. And the initial conditions, one of the initial conditions is same. What is Vc0 plus? Vc0 plus, as you see in the circuit, will be equal to 10 minus 3i. Okay, the Vc0 plus, that will be equal to 10 minus 3i 0 plus. Okay, if you see this circuit at t is equal to 0 plus, the capacitor was open circuited. Okay, so the no current was flowing into it. So as t at t is equal to 0, circuit like was behaving like this. It was a source. The switch was just so at t is equal to 0 minus, we can say what was the circuit condition. So there was a source 10 volt and there was a 2 ohm resistance in which some current was flowing, and there was some dependent source plus minus 3i, and the rest of the circuit was open circuited. Okay, so what will be the value, because no current was flowing, so there is no drop. The inductor doesn't come into the picture, and this 9 into a 0 also becomes 0. So what will be the voltage across the capacitor at these terminals plus minus Vc? It will be equal to this 10 minus 3i. Okay, the voltage across capacitor can be written as 10 minus 3. So since the capacitor voltage cannot change instantaneously, so the Vc0 plus will be equal to Vc0. Okay. So first you have to draw this circuit in your copy, and then you will be able to understand it. So, and what was the initial current that was flowing? I0 plus in the circuit. I0 plus, because it is a dependent source. So you see the I0 plus which was flowing in the circuit was because this is not working. So capacitor is open circuited. So it will be 10 divided by 2, that is 5. So I0 plus, which is equal to is is equal to I0 minus, that is equal to 5 ampere. Okay, for not confusing, we can write down what is the condition at Vc0 minus. So here also Vc0 minus. So this was the current that was flowing in the circuit, that is 5 ampere. So Vc0 minus, which is equal to Vc0 plus, this becomes equal to minus 5 volt. So one condition is there. Here from here, Vc0 will be equal to B1. So B1 is now known. Okay, B1 you can easily calculate. Now the next condition is we have to calculate B2. Calculate B2. So for B2 we will have the same expression which we have already used earlier, that IC is equal to minus C dV by dt. And you can see that IC at 0 plus was 0 because no current was flowing in the circuit and the capacitor was open circuited. So IC 0 plus will is safely assumed to be 0, because at when the capacitor that was connected in series, because the capacitor was connected in series, there is no point uh, calculating the current. It is can be, it will always be 0. So the second equation you can use this. V is already we have used this expression. The expression of V is there, VCT. Okay, the expression of VCT is there. So you have to differentiate it and then multiply it by C and put it to 0. So once you put it to 0, the value of V2 will be equal to minus zero point 0.4. You calculate it from your side. I have got V2 is equal to minus 0.401. V1 is known, V2 is now known. So VCT can be written as E minus of minus 0.8 T 5 cos of 9.968 t plus 0.4013 sine of 9.968 volts. So this is for t greater than 0. This expression is for t greater than 0. So if you simulate this in your Simulink, you will get some kind of voltage waveform like this. The capacitor was having an initial voltage of minus 5 volt. So you can say this is minus 5 volt, this is 0, and this is 5 volt. So you will get an underdamped response. Underdamped response you will get into the circuit, and it will first increase to some value. Let me draw it properly. I will try my best to convey. Otherwise, you can look into books, it is written. So it will having an underdamped response. Okay, like this. So finally, it will settle down to 0. It will oscillate first, and in each cycle, the magnitude will come down to 0. So from the simulation, we can confirm that the time period for this peak is 1.0 second. For another peak, it is 2.05 second, and so. Okay, and this is 0 second. So it will start from minus 5 volt, that is its initial value, and then it will go. Okay, so you can solve more questions like this. Another practice problem which I would like to give you is similar to this. You have to calculate the expression, calculate the expression and plot ILT. So you have a 2 ohm resistance, you have a dependent current source now. This is a dependent current source. It is having a magnitude of 3 times V, where C is the capacitor voltage. A resistance, there is one capacitance plus minus Vc and some inductance in the circuit. Okay, so this way you need to calculate the value of the circuit, and then I am telling you the values for this. It is having a value of 2 ohm, and it is having a value of 5 Henry. It is having a value of 5 Henry, and this is 10 millifarad, and this is 2 ohm. Okay, so correct answer is minus 30 e to the power minus 300 t ampere for t greater than 0. So try to solve this. This much from my side. Thank you. We'll meet again.